Hello and welcome back to Navy Cross Episode 2, Advancement Tips. I'm Petty Officer Cross, your host. With advancement season coming up in a couple weeks, we're going to talk more about advancement tips and a couple stories. Tip number 1, print out your bibs, look at the titles, learn the titles, especially how they're different from similar sounding titles. Here's why. You'll probably have one or several of questions that look just like this. So if you know what the title is and what's contained within that document, you should be able to deduce many of those questions just knowing the titles themselves. Now you can learn the titles by flashcards or rote memorization, but let me give 2 suggestions of ways that might be better to learn those titles. Suggestion number 1, create a matching quiz. Group titles that look similar and create distinctions between them using a matching quiz. Suggestion number 2, create a story. Look at these 2 bib titles. NTTP 3TEC 13.1 and NTTP 3TEC 13.2. Similar titles, but creating a story may help you to parse the difference between the 2 items. For me, that first entry, NTTP 3TEC 13.1, reminds me of A113, which is kind of a Pixar joke. There's an Easter egg in most Pixar movies of A113. They see it in license plates and building numbers, that kind of thing. I'll spare you the details, but if you're a Pixar nerd, you've probably seen it once or twice. Now, where do you see Pixar films? In the theater. So that's one way to remember NTTP 3TEC 13.1. You see it in the theater. NTTP 3TEC 13.2 is the next bib. And if you think about seeing a Pixar film in the theater, based on your first bib, then what happens after you sit down? You see the Pixar logo, right? The Luxo lamp jumping across the screen, jumping on the I, and the Luxo lamp looks like an O. So now you have I-O. Or NTTP 3TEC 13.2, Navy Information Operation Warfare Commander's Manual. So that's a simple way to remember little stories. The second reason you might want to study the titles is because terms you're studying may appear differently in different contexts. Let me give you an example. J2, the Joint Intelligence Cell. You might know what that term means, but it's going to be different in different contexts depending on what bib you're looking at. So J2 might be different if it's in an IA capacity, if it's in a CNO capacity, if it's in a CND capacity. Tip number 2, patterns tell a story. If you're reading through the bibs, the documents themselves now, and you're finding terms that keep repeating, you want to pay attention to those terms because there's probably going to be more than just a few questions on them, right? In the CTN1 bibs, some examples would be teardrop, Smurf, Fraggle attacks, land attacks, sin floods. They pop up several times, so you want to take special care to learn what those are and learn them in depth. Tip number 3, don't sleep on audio. Most of human civilization, if it's on, say, this time scale, has been oral transmission of concepts, right? Telling each other stories. Homer's Odyssey and the Iliad, those are ancient stories passed down through hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Written text, written language since Gutenberg has been roughly that part of human civilization. So if you're not into note cards and flashcards and study guides, that's okay. One thing you may consider is once you have some notes prepared, using your phone or whatever you have, voice recording, and record yourself telling the notes, and then listening back to it as you work out or walk or whatever. Tip number 4, teach somebody else. Teaching someone else the concepts you're studying is an excellent way to lock it into your own mind. Okay, that's it for this episode, kind of brief. Thank you for watching. The next episode is going to be on health and nutritional standards that will help you get your game face on for the upcoming advancement exam. Thank you for watching.